welcome. We are back at our garden here at the Okaloosa County Extension Office. I hope you guys have enjoyed the weather we've had lately, because it sure has been nice. It's act like spring, but we've had a lot of wind, and so it's still important to make sure that your plants are getting water. Remember what that water's doing. It's necessary to pick up all the nutrients that are in the soil, pull it up through the roots, transfer it up the stem and into the leaves so that the plant can make its own food. So that being said, what part of the plant is it most important to get water to? It's not the leaves, guys. We really want to make sure when we're watering that we're focusing our attention on the soil at the base of the plant. So while you're watering, making sure that that's what you're hitting, not doing this sort of thing. Sure, this might cool off the air a little bit, but by making those leaves wet, you are inviting diseases, problems for these plants, and there's very little of it that's actually going to be able to help that plant out, because now you've actually changed the environmental conditions. So remember that watering needs to be at the base of the plant. Now, you want to make sure that the plant needs water. So you want that soil to begin to dry out a little bit before you are applying water. So get used to picking it up. Does it stick together? If it's holding together, then yes, it's got enough moisture in it. But if you squeeze it and you open up and it all crumbles apart on you, it's probably ready for water. So use that squeeze test to determine, should I be watering? Because sometimes that soil may feel cool and moist even though it's really not wet. So letting it dry, then re-wetting it again, letting it dry on the surface one more time. That's what's so important with the watering techniques. Now, that plant loses that water through what we call transpiration. The water that's pulled up to the plant and to those leaves, there are actually openings on the underside of the leaf called stomas, and those stoma will open and close in order to let in the carbon dioxide and let out the oxygen. But while they're open and letting the oxygen out, they can also release any excess water. That's why plants cool our environment, is because they're releasing that excess water and making the air right around that plant cooler than the air away from the plant. That's why they're so important to us. But we want to make sure that that continues to function, that transpiration is just enough to allow the plant to move the chemicals that it needs to up the plant and not get so dry that they close up and the plant wilts. So make sure that you're not reaching the wilting stage where the leaves are hanging straight down. That's going too long between waterings. Check it out the next time you need to water. So let's see what the garden is doing today. Our tomatoes have made it all the way to the top of the tomato cage. Look at how big those stems are getting. Size of my thumb. And the flowers are still coming on, but it's been a little cool. We've seen a few insects, but not a lot. The cucumbers, they've grown up to the top also. See, those tendrils have finally reached the top. And hopefully before long, we're going to start to see the little flowers opening up to form some cucumbers. But what's most impressive, look at the size of these squash. See how big they've gotten in this last week? They've doubled in size. Great big leaves. Look how big that leaf is. And we're getting lucky, it looks like. Most of our fruit has been pollinated. It's setting and hanging on. So hopefully we're going to have a lot of squash here real soon. This one has not received any additional fertilizing, and at the rate that it's growing, we probably don't need to at this point. However, if we spin around and look at our potatoes over here, they haven't grown as much this week, have they? So when you don't see significant growth happening, it means the plant has probably used up all the nutrients it had in the soil, and it's time to replace that. So that's what we're going to be looking at this week, is getting these potatoes fertilized and getting them to grow some more. So maybe we can talk next time about what the components of fertilizer are. So if you want to go ahead and start looking for information, maybe you can guess how many nutrients plants need and which 3 are the most important for these plants. Till then, enjoy checking out your garden. I hope you've got a few things started. If not, come back with us next week. We'll see some more progress in our plants here. Thanks for joining 4-H.